All right, so we're back, and we had just been speaking with Mike Summers about international students and some of the things they can do to network and help themselves get a job. And we're bringing in somebody that has graduated recently from Fordham University. Leah, you are from Vietnam, and why don't you tell us your story?
Okay, so I'm from Vietnam. I only moved here for college. I've never lived in the U.S. And I studied new media and digital design at Fordham. And my move was kind of intuitive because this whole college decision was during COVID and there wasn't much kind of interactions with other people. So I just did a lot of research at home and I felt like I wanted to be somewhere that had people from everywhere. And logically, that was New York City. And my brother also went to Fordham University. And he loved his time here, so I moved here. And I graduated in May, and since then I've been looking for jobs and applying to places.
So I'm going to bring you back. I have to step. I'm Bill, co-host of Jerry. You didn't even introduce us, did you?
I think at this point they should
They know us?
Yes.
If you're new to the podcast, that's Jerry, I'm Bill, Mike. And if you're not, welcome back. The question I had for you is, take us back. The thought, maybe it was your brother, right? The thought process to want to go to school from Vietnam, having grown up there, right? In the U.S. That's a big decision.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind? Did you distinguish yourself in high school? Did you have this vision? Was it your brother? Just what?
So I actually went to an international school. So there were people from everywhere, and I really liked the community there. And I felt like I got a lot of different perspectives, but I wanted my move to be really drastic. I am a middle child. I just very stubborn too. I really wanted to be far away. And so I picked the furthest place possible. It's a whole 24 hours away. But I think I kind of just wanted to recreate that community again. And yeah, that's why I picked the US.
Yeah. Has the experience so far, I know you're in a very important transition, and we'll talk about it, and you want to stay in the States, right? And that has its own challenges as an international staff. But did the experience at Fordham and living in New York City, et cetera, live up to your expectations, or how did you manage that transition?
Yeah, I think I had no expectations going into college at all. And I think living in New York totally exceeded my expectations. I think I really figured out what I wanted to do here just because there's so many opportunities. And I feel like if I'd went to maybe a school in a smaller city or a really big school, like a state school, for example, I don't think I would have been able to talk to as many people, form a closer kind of group around me that can really discuss what I'm interested in, and also just going out into the city and seeing what's happening. And I think one of the most formative experiences for me was interning at an art gallery, and I think that really changed my mind of what I really wanted to do. And I didn't know that was even possible. I thought art galleries were places you go to, not work at.
Right.
And my time there, I spent 7 months there, and I worked at the front desk, and I got to talk to clients, just people who come in every day, just tourists too, because it was a downtown gallery. And I just loved talking to people so much, and I just could not imagine myself living anywhere else where I would not have this opportunity anymore. And that's why I'm now really committed to stay in the U.S., especially New York City.
Yeah, but you majored in new media, right?
And then I added on a double major for visual arts.
Okay.
To get a more
So you open to both right now as you will get into your journey for search?
I think my visual arts second major was more, I felt like it helped me with graphic design and kind of digital design that I didn't get to do in depth in my first major, and also the art history classes, so that I'm able to transition into the kind of art business, gallery, museum world if I did do something in it.
So it sounds like you might be able to combine the
Mhm.
two or leverage the two.
Mhm.
This gentleman here, you gave some really helpful tidbits about somebody in Leah's situation as an international staff,
Yeah.
as you deal with many of them
Yeah.
Mhm.
at Lafayette. Maybe just reiterating, but also getting some feedback.
Sure. There was one word that you mentioned to describe yourself that I think is such an asset. You said you're a middle child and you were stubborn. That really can translate to persistence, right? It strikes me if you're stubborn, you're also persistent, right? You want something, you go after it. So I think, as we were talking a little bit in the last episode, times are really challenging for, as you know, you're living this experience now for international students. And so the alumni network at Fordham is huge. You've got a guy like Jerry over here who knows that really, really well. And I think leveraging that network, especially those international alumni who have lived that experience that you've lived, who know what it's like to have to make that transition in those times, I think number one will be a group of people that you'll feel comfortable with. And number two, there'll be people to help you navigate some of the challenges that you will navigate as an international student, not just pursuing where your interests are, and you should find alumni, and probably are, who are in the space or spaces you want to operate, but also reach out to those outside those spaces because they too have a network. So they may have people they graduated with that are in the spaces that you're in that you might not find directly yourself. It's also a safe space. That's the important thing to also say as well. It's a safe space where you can become vulnerable. It's where you can have conversations about your fears, about your dreams, and about your challenges, and those people can help you in that regard. So that is like the nucleus and foundation of where I think you want to start to help launch yourself in the direction of not just feeling like you have to go at it all on your own, right? It's very daunting, especially in today's climate. So that'd be one strong recommendation I would make, and if you're doing it, double down and reach out and make sure you're taking advantage of that.
How did you get your internship?
Yeah.
Well, I got my internship because I applied to another place,
Okay.
and it happens to be the director at the internship that I was going to be at was friends with someone who worked in HR there. So they referred, or they sent half the resume over because they could only hire one intern, and this other gallery was looking for more and they hadn't posted anything. So I actually got it through that network. So that was my first kind of really understanding like, oh, everything kind of operates in a very social way. It's not like logistical. You don't just need a cover letter and resume. It's just people telling people about things. And similarly with my mentorship program, I was talking to my mentor about looking for jobs, and I just shared my screen scrolling through LinkedIn, and she said, oh, like, I know someone at that law firm.
Bingo.
You know, like, it might not be something you love, but I can connect you with someone there, and then from there see what else might open up, because you actually never know who they're hiring. They might not have posted it yet. So that was also another time recently that I realized that I should just need to, like, talk to more people and see what they know, because adults know a lot more than just your college friends, you know? Like, you can't only talk to your classmates because we're all in the same boat. It's just like...
Tell us about your mentorship experience. Who is your mentor, and are you still in touch?
Yeah, my mentor is Sarah. She was great. She graduated from, I think, Sarah Lawrence, but did her master's at Fordham. So her experience at Fordham was quite different from mine, but we had similar interests in art history, and she worked at like a museum in New York, so she gave me a lot of insights and also insights on grad school process. But it was overall very positive. She gave me good feedback on my cover letter and resume as like a person in like a more senior position. She understands what she's looking at, if she's ever kind of hiring people or getting referred. So she gave me that employer perspective that I wouldn't have had otherwise if I just talked to maybe someone at the Career Center who can just give me very straightforward advice on this is what you should say, this is the formula. If you kind of get it down, then your cover letter should be okay. So yeah, I think it was great.
Back to this idea of networking, which we've touched on a lot, but for you, right? Coming from another country, probably I'll make the assumption you don't have an extensive network in the States to begin with, right? Personality-wise, was it hard for you? Or as you say, you learned that when you do this and you be persistent, right, in a personable way, it worked. But Did it take you a while? Because so many students we talk to are so reluctant. How was it like for you?
I think I am part of that group that is reluctant.
Okay.
I have been quite shy because I've always seen, I guess, anyone who could be hiring me a potential threat in a way.
Why would there be a threat?
Just because I feel like I have to make a really good impression, really tell them what I want to do, who I am, in a way that is also personable but professional.
Sure.
And because I'm so reluctant to do that, I just feel like I can't deliver my message well, so I don't try as often, and I only try when I know that I have a really good chance at it. But
That's
since
interesting.
after graduation, I feel like I have gotten rid of that mindset, or I'm trying to, and I have reached out to way more alumni at places that I might be interested at, and I have found that it's completely harmless
Yes.
and actually very helpful. And I don't know why I didn't do it earlier.
How,
Right,
how
you
many
had it.
times
Yeah.
were you in my office saying, help me write this email?
Yeah.
You see this all the time.
all the time,
right?
and you articulated beautifully how you've transitioned from being fearful of doing it to now. I can just tell the way you speak with the confidence you speak. You're not that way anymore, right? I think it's the fear of that's the one chance I have. So if I mess it up, it's over,
Right.
It's not. Right? You know, you're not going to mess it up. And you build that confidence through experience, right?
Right.
A career coach or somebody can counsel you on what to do, but you have to just go through it
yourself, right.
and do it yourself, and you're doing that. And so kudos to you, by the way, number one. and be that stubborn / persistent person who continues to do that and to leverage that network. It's not a matter of if you'll be successful. It's just a matter of when. That door's opening. They always say, like, trying to crack a huge rock in half. You don't know if it's going to be time number 325 that you smash the rock, or 326 it'll split in half. But keep hitting it. Keep hitting the rock, if they will. Keep making the calls. Keep reaching out, and you'll be successful.
And to your point, and I couldn't agree more, Mike, once you do it, as Mike says, often enough, it becomes a lot more natural, right? Often I hear from Gen Zs or even millennials, is the person scary? Right? You guys use that word, scary. There aren't that many, especially if it's a networking connection, alum, they don't want to be scary, right? Do you ever meet a scary network individual?
I cannot say I
All right.
have.
And I met a scary
That's good.
interviewer. We can talk
Yeah.
about that next, but
Yeah.
you made the point. I mean, people want to help.
They do.
Right?
And every now and then you'll run into somebody who will knock your self-esteem down. And you've heard the term Control-Alt-Delete. Control-Alt-Delete. Let it go.
Yeah.
Move on to the next one. They'll just be that. And just let it go.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably makes sense to talk about so what, now what, right? You just graduated, congrats. You have this stress, I'll use that word if you allow me to, of being international staff. There's, unfortunately, a clock that runs on that, right? And we all know that, and you should be educated that you are. So what are you doing now, and what's your outreach been, and what advice would you have for others, and what's going on? You have any interview possibilities, or you're working on it, or what?
Well, I have just been applying to a lot of places, but I also have found that as an international, you should be applying for bigger companies, because
Bigger
then the
companies.
likelihood that they would sponsor you or be not so afraid of the fact that they might have to sponsor you in the future doesn't stop them from hiring you. But I still think that this year is especially
It's tough.
difficult. And I'm really not sure if there's any secret advice or recipe to it. I think it's just persistence and reaching out to people and kind of making your case, and that's what I'm trying to do. I think it's just a little bit difficult when everybody is equally qualified for a job, but then on paper it says that in 3 years, for example, I need sponsorship, but no one wants to kind of give in to that, even though they have 3 years where I could work for them. I think it's just, I can understand from a employer perspective that it's more money for them to spend.
They have to sponsor, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to modify, if you'll allow me, something you said, just to have, maybe you'll think about it a little bit there. You said large companies, right? I worked for a very large institution, Citi, for a long time, right? And Citi is, like many big companies, very aware and of the importance of international staff and the ability to support them. That said, Citi and many other biggest companies might in fact be a little more reluctant because they've lived the experience, to your point, that if you don't get sponsorship or you don't get the lottery, right, has to be another element. Eventually, they're going to have to do something different, sending you out of country or whatever, and they will ask you, biggest companies, right on the application, do you require sponsorship? Whereas in a mid-size or a smaller company, just something to think about, it may not even come up because they're not either as aware or they don't care as much, right? Mike, it's a two-way street. It depends.
I think to our earlier concept, it's an and, right? I think you certainly want to do the big companies, but don't leave off going to the smaller and mid-sized companies because, to your point, they may be in a position where if they're hiring one person, they're willing to sponsor one person versus a bigger organization might not be in a position to do that. So I would say both. And the volume is the key too, right? Because there are people out there who will hire you. You just got to find them, and it just takes a little bit more of the applications and networking to get out there and do it. But again, we go back to what you said about yourself earlier. You're stubborn, so you'll be persistent and then keep track of it and just follow up like crazy. And good things. Why you clearly very articulate. You tell a really good story of you and your journey, and telling that story will resonate with people, and somebody will hire you. So.
And maybe that's your unique value proposition, right? That's what differentiates you. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's your ability to storyboard or storytell or whatever it may be. You've got to figure out what makes you different and worthy of not only the employment but keeping you here.
Yeah, one other thing I might say too, you really articulated beautifully how you got that opportunity that you had for the internship. It was a referral basically from somebody you worked with into the other, staying connected to those two and leveraging what they have, because also things come up. You may not have anything today, and in 2 weeks they might have something. So if you reach out and stay connected with them, just pinging them every now and then just to say hi and just wanted to check in, how are things going? Or if you walk by there, just pop your head in and say hello, because you never know. Oh, I'm so glad you stopped in today. I actually just heard about something and thought about you yesterday and was going to reach out. And by you being there today, it happens. It's where opportunity and persistence and follow-up meet. So it's sending out the applications, but also leveraging those things that you've taken advantage of already.
Absolutely. I know you brought some questions for us, but before we let you get there, in the previous segment, we talked a lot about preparing for the interview when you get it, how important that is. I often ask the question, how good an interviewee do you think you are right now on a 0 to 10? And what are you doing to enhance your interview skill set? First, how good are you? You good?
I would say I'm like a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe-
that's good. A little confidence there.
Yeah, I can definitely improve. I think depending on the age of the interviewer, that really affects my performance. I feel like if it's someone younger, I'm more intimidated to them. If someone older,
Wait, say that again. More
That's the
intimidating?
inverse
Yeah.
of what I might expect you to
Interesting.
say.
Why?
because they're just slightly more experienced, but not in the way that I know that they've have had experience with a lot of interviewees. They've met a lot of
I see what you're
personalities.
saying, yeah.
They
I see
could
that.
be more picky. That's just my experience with younger people.
Ah.
And they might not be as understanding, I feel like, because they only had 2 years of experience interviewing people.
Right.
And they have never had something unexpected come up. So they might not be super understanding. To prepare, I did use Big Interview a lot for internships because
preparation.
they help you with formulating answers, and you have like a worksheet of all your answers, and you
Yeah.
come back and pick and choose. I think it's super cool. And I just kind of talk to myself a lot if I have an interview coming up, or I talk to one of my friends and I make them ask me questions.
Yeah.
Nice. Really
And that like with my friends, I try to practice like looking at the person and not feeling like, oh, like I made a mistake, I can't like keep going, I just have to keep talking. So I think having a friend to tell you like, okay, like you have to speed it up or something like that is really good.
Yeah. Listening to you, to Mike's point, I would envision you're going to be a very sincere, an authentic interviewee. And that's, the qualitative aspects are part of that as well, right? Not too little, not too much, just enough, come across sincere, authentic, and those are things, as you build your ability to interview well, the confidence rises. Right?
And good for you for going through and taking advantage of the resources that are there and actually using them and practicing. There are so many students who don't do that, for whatever reason, intimidated by it or don't really. The fact that you're actually going through and doing that, that's going to continue, to your point, build your confidence.
Do you notice that your peers are not doing the same things you're doing or preparing?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think the fact that I did work at the Fordham Career Center really empowered me with that. And I see that we have so many resources. We always tell our friends who don't work at the Career Center, like, you should take advantage of Handshake and, like, the different info sessions and practice and workshops that we have, but not many students show up, I think, because they are also like, okay, just because I don't have anything lined up, like, I don't actually have to go, and people only try to make appointments when they have something due in 2 days. And I realized that's not how it works. It's like a skill, interviewing, and I feel like you have to practice talking to people, and just talking to your peers is not enough, because you talk in a different way. So yeah.
I'm going to give you an 8. Trending to an 8.5 with what you said.
Impressed.
All right,
Impressed.
we only have a few minutes left, but we promised to answer. So where'd you get these questions from? Are they yours, your colleagues, what?
I came up with these, and then I just told my friends, and I asked them if they're also wondering the same thing, and they all did.
Fire away.
Okay,
What do
so
you got?
one of the first questions I had is about networking or kind of reaching out to people. So, for example, if you're applying to a job on LinkedIn and it shows you a series of alumni that also worked at the company, who do you reach out to? Do you reach out to someone from the department if possible, or an HR person, or just anyone that you can have access to or you think would kind of
Throw that one right over to Mike.
The answer is yes, all the above, like all the above, right? Because you don't think too linearly in that situation, right? You want to reach out to everybody that's in the organization, and they may say, "Hey, sorry, I don't know anybody." Okay, that's all right. Check that one off. But then you could have somebody who knows somebody that then, by your outreach, will say, "Actually, I know that person," and you wouldn't necessarily think by looking at their title they did, right? So I would say all of the above. Send a note out. Your probability of a response or somebody to help you increases exponentially. Now, if you look up and there's 350 people at the company, you might want to narrow that down just a little bit. But if it's a manageable number, I would do all of the above.
Okay.
Increases your probability of getting an outreach back.
And I'll tell you something else. When you do get that job, if you can remember who you spoke to, whether they were able to help you or not, the fact that you will remember them and that you're there will make them think about you in the future. Wow, you remembered me. I didn't really help you, but you're really instinctive. You're here now, so you must have done something right, and you'll have a supporter, you'll have an advocate, and you don't know how that's going to work in the future, but it will help your networking.
Okay. Very insightful. I did not think to reach out to all of them. I just thought you'd pick one or two, and then
You never know. Do you care if it's, are you more hesitant on more senior alum versus junior? Or you have
I think to just reach out about like a company for a job, I don't really mind anyone.
Right.
I just came across like a job posting on LinkedIn, and it had like 8 Fordham alumni, and I just didn't know who to pick. So that's like I think some of my friends also ran into that recently.
Yeah.
And we were like, I guess you just pick one of
Yeah,
them.
do some research.
Yeah,
though,
and I can
right?
tell you the number one person you should look at and see if there's a person there in talent acquisition.
Yeah.
Because if they're in talent acquisition, that's obviously who's responsible for filling the role, so you definitely want to reach out to them. Then branch out to human resources, they're in the space, and then you can start to reach out to the functional areas as well. So if you have to prioritize, because you may not have unlimited in-mails, you want to be somewhat strategic, but not being so narrow that you're not giving yourself a shot at it.
I'll give you another trick to that. To Mike's point, I agree. If it's somebody senior, who a recruiter who's maybe relatively junior in talent acquisition, and they get a note from the big cheese Jerry just said, have a look at Leah's resume, they're going to respond because the big guy or a woman just said, have a look. So it's strategic. Right.
No doubt
All right,
about
give
it.
us, what else you got?
Okay.
Tough.
Or she wrote another one down. Okay, so let's say all college graduates have very similar resumes. What do you think has been a way that your students or clients have really stood out amongst hundreds of equally good applications? Is it the reaching out part besides that, but is there something that they're saying specifically in the cover letter, or is there something unconventional or unorthodox that they're doing that's really helping them? Would you say?
We haven't talked a lot about cover letters. We've referenced them. I happen to be a fan. Not everybody is. I don't know about Mike and Jerry. I happen to be a fan. Why? It allows you to come alive and distinct. A resume is very structured, and it's got to be a look and a feel and whatever, right? You know that. A cover letter, you're going to tell your story before you get the chance to tell your story to an interviewer. You have a fascinating story. So sometimes, and you can be generic in a cover letter, but you also need to be customized, top and bottom, but you have a story to tell. So one of the ways might be using a cover letter to come alive. What do you think? Are you a fan, Mike?
I agree. I'm a fan. Not everybody is, to your point,
Right.
but not knowing who is and who is not, always submit the cover letter, because the person who's not the fan won't look at you in a negative light that you did it. They just won't pay attention to it, and that's okay. But I think the cover letter does allow you to bring it to life. It's an extra step of your demonstrated interest in the role, and brings you off the page, as you say, and sort of brings you alive. So I think that's really, really important. To your question about the distinguishing on the resume, I think you certainly want to cater your resume to the particular opportunity that you're applying for, right? And so make sure you're using those words. Be truthful always, but use the words that you're seeing in the job description in your resume, because the AI will pull that out, as will the hiring manager who's reading that. So I think it's really important to distinguish that. And if you've done something unique in your college experience that you might think, well, I don't know if that should be on the resume or not, put it there, because they're looking for points of distinction. So I think it's really important that you do that. And as they always say, keep it short, right? Keep it one page. Keep it one page on your resume, because every resume gets about 25 seconds of airtime. So you want to pop off, you want to be organized, you want to have everything where you need to go. That, along with the cover letter, is sort of the two areas where you want to really spend your time and focus.
Absolutely.
I would just add, follow hiring trends. Figure out what employers are looking for and do certifications or workshops or something that makes you ready to conquer those issues and be adaptable. So while you're looking for a job, always be doing things that give you a unique value proposition so that you can add those things to your resume, so that when you do submit, you have something that other people may be lacking, or you only have to be a couple weeks ahead of the curve, but be there.
Okay.
All right, we're going to have to wrap in a minute or two, but do you have one more burning question? And we'll do a quick answer for you.
Okay, this is like a general question, I think, that would apply to a lot of people that are not just college graduates, but what is your kind of advice for anyone who's indecisive or doesn't know what to do with their career? Would you say they just pick whatever and what comes first, or just really try and figure it out and go into whatever you really want to go into?
That's a great question. We touched on it again, Mike.
Yeah, I think just remember, your first job's your first job, right? So you certainly want to find out what your interests are and do some reflection and figure out what it is. So I'll use an archery target as an example. You want to get inside one of the rings, right? You just don't want to be way the heck over here, going to work every day, doing something you don't at all like, and then get stuck. So things that you look at will say, oh, I think I can see myself doing that. Is it a perfect job? No. First of all, there is no perfect job. Let's get that on the table right now. There's no perfect job. And you're going in, you're just gaining a set of skills, you're advancing yourself as a young professional, and you'll discover either up and through that organization or through and out. You'll discover that as well by the people you'll network with and hang out with outside of work and inside your spaces, as to say, ooh, that's really cool. I think I might want to do that as my next step. So take the pressure off as a student or recent graduate. I have to find the perfect first job. Let that go. Just go earn a set of skills, continue to network. I told the guys earlier, I'm 60 years old. I'm still networking every single day and helping. It never stops. But what that does is it enables you to reach out to me and say, Mike, do you know somebody in this space that's doing X, Y, and Z? I probably have at least one person in my network who is in that space that I could make an introduction for you. doesn't make me really good. It makes me networking for a number of years. So continue to network always. That'd be my piece of advice on that for sure.
That's awesome. Jerry, as we wrap here, so we've just had 2 great segments with Mike. Mike, thank you again.
Oh, it's my
and
pleasure.
Leah, thank you,
Thank you.
for probing. How do people find this stuff? When is this going to be available? Just wrap it up for us.
Well, we release our episodes on the 1st and 15th of every month. You can find us at spillingthecareertea.com. It's Bill and Jerry's excellent podcast. We're on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you can listen to podcasts. And if you have questions for us or issues that you'd like us to talk about, you can send us a message on Instagram, TikTok, and most major social media platforms. But also you can drop us a question on our YouTube page or spillingthecareertea.com.
Wow.
That's a lot, right?
Okay.
I don't even know if we really have all that stuff. I just been told.
And we're looking for more followers, right? We don't want to be
Yeah.
TikTok famous yet. We are on TikTok.
Well,
as
you're
well.
on TikTok. I don't use TikTok.
But your son put us on TikTok. Nice. Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Lee. I hope this has been helpful to you guys out there, and we heard some real, I think, great advice today on career readiness. So thank you so much.
We really appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you on the next episode of Bill and Jerry's excellent podcast, a.k.a. Spilling the Career Tea.